This is the iPhone 4S, released on October 15, 2011, right after the passing of the famous Steve Jobs. This iPhone was truly one of a kind as it introduced glass and metal on both sides. The beloved 3.5-inch form factor was replaced by iPhone 5 in 2012 and then upped once again to 4.7 inches in 2014 by the iPhone 6. This was the first dual-core iPhone of all time and was the first highly improved upgrade in speed to the iPhone lineup. The 4S was only missing LTE compatibility, but it does have the latest and greatest software, iOS 9.3.3. Are you wondering if this phone has what it takes to last still here in 2016, as this is the end of the line and the last video on the iPhone 4S? Let's find out. Let's go. So let's begin this iOS 9.3.3 review by showing you that we are in fact running the previous version, iOS 9.3.2. So if I head over into General and I go to About Device, you're going to see that we are rocking the older version because we're going to update this live here on camera. So let's get into that right now. Let's head over into Software Update, check for the update. You can see it's a 35 megabit update. Apple iOS 9.3.3 includes some bug fixes, improves in security and performance on iPhone and iPad, but we're going to see if that performance holds up. So as usual, we're going to go ahead and download and install this, and we're going to agree to the terms of service on the iPhone 4S, agree to the terms and conditions. There is quite a few steps that we go through here every time we do an update, but it's worth the treat at the end. And let's go ahead and wait for this to download. You can see estimated. I'm going to skip through this. In reality, this took about 29 minutes. So yes, be prepared to wait a little bit for that. Now, when it gets to the boot up process, it boots up like 2 times within that 29 minutes, and that's what you're seeing right here. So I would just put this phone off to the side, let it do its thing, and come back later and check it out. But you can see after 2 boots and the download, we are finally in to iOS 9.3.3 here on the iPhone 4S. Now let's go ahead and confirm that so I just can prove that we are running that version here on this 4S. So I'm going to scroll down until I get to General here. I'm going to go back to About like we did earlier. We're going to scroll up and we're going to confirm that we are on the latest iOS official release 9.3.3 13G34 as the recording of this video on the iPhone 4S. How do you know it's an iPhone 4S? There is Siri. Siri was the first on the iPhone 4S, not on the iPhone 4. So now I'm going to boot the iPhone 4S off so I can go ahead and do a boot up test for you guys to show you how long this takes to boot this guy up on iOS 9.3.3. So I'm going to hit the power button here and we're going to boot this guy up real quickly. I am going to skip through this once again and I'm going to tell you how long it took in a minute, but you can see the boot up time was about 1 minute and 16 seconds. So be prepared to wait if you're going to have to boot this guy up. It really is a pretty long boot up speed. I just skipped through that video though. Now let's go ahead and close out the applications and get into a performance test and see how this guy actually does in the real world. So you can see there is the weather application. It is crawling. Let's go back. Let's go into calendar. Let that load up there. And let's go into clock, and you can see these applications, they do open, they're functional, but they are pretty slow, and they probably would slow down your workflow in terms of productivity here in 2016. It would probably be a pain to use this now. As you can see, it doesn't even respond to the taps in the way that it might have in the past on iOS versions of past, like iOS 6 for example. So overall, not too pleased with the performance so far, but you can see we're going to load up Yahoo here, and that took quite a bit of time as well. Now I'm coming from the perspective of a 2016 iPhone user. iPhone 6, 5S, 6S will smoke this thing, but you know, it's still a functional phone. It still works, but you're just gonna have to wait to do things. So we go into the Verge here.com, and it does have a little bit of a small keyboard because it is a small phone, but you can see right here there's a little bit of lag here when I'm going to the website The Verge. You can see I'm going to The Verge here because this is a heavy website and I want to see if this can hang here 2016 on this latest version. And you can see The Verge is loading up here. Let it do its thing really quickly, and you can see not really quickly actually. Look how long it takes to load a website. Now this is not my Wi-Fi connection. My Wi-Fi connection is just fine. As you see in all my videos, we never have a Wi-Fi problem here on that aspect. It's just the phone has less than a gig of RAM. It's not very optimized for the latest and greatest version. I don't want to be sounding like a sour patch here, but the truth is I have to be real with you guys and direct with you, and I gotta tell you that things are pretty slow here. And you can see there is the camera. It took quite a while. You would have missed your moment there, to be honest, and we're gonna go ahead and fire off. But there's even a delay when you go ahead and click the button on the iPhone 4S here. And if you hold it down, there is no burst mode there. So you can see that overall, just pretty slow experience, even on the camera, a bit of lag here. Now, once again, if you have some patience, you will get the job done. But in, this society, very busy, not a lot of people have patience, especially when it comes to smartphones. You want those to be fast because they're tools. And like when you want to catch a memory in a moment, watch a quick YouTube video, you want to show it to your friends, this is going to be a pain. And you might even, the moment might even get a little bit lame because, you're waiting so long for the phone to load up here. So let's go into the App Store here. And you can see the App Store is taking its sweet time just a little bit here. It shows the Big Bang. But once again, you are seeing what you're going to see on the latest iPhones here on the 4S. So in terms of the visual aesthetics, nothing has really changed here in terms of this or an iPhone 6S, for example. It looks pretty much the same in terms of the actual visual aspects. There's nothing really different here in that regard, except for, of course, its screen size. Now, just navigating, you can see the general UI. There's a few stutters here as well. Even on the quick control, you can see it takes a couple of taps to get it to swipe up. But overall, the general UI performs better than the third-party application opening. So if you're going to be messing with third-party apps, that's where you've seen in this video and where it's going to hiccup the most here on the latest iOS 9.3.3 as of August 2nd, 2016. This is the end of the line, I feel, for the iPhone 4S here. And it's been a long time running. Very great support, 5 years in the making, and I think they did a great job, but it's time to call it quits, I think, here on the iPhone 4S. So that's pretty much it. We looked at the boot up speed of the iPhone 4S. We looked at applications, multitasking, camera, and you could see that overall it's just, like I say, I don't want to spoil your night if you're an iPhone 4S user, but it's just not the greatest performance anymore in the world. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Going through a couple of things, not too much of a deal here. Like I said, you could swipe through with no problem, and the iPhone 4S is still a very durable phone. Sans the back glass, you don't want to drop it on the back glass, but it's still a pretty strong, durable phone that is definitely not bending. But this is still not a phone that I would recommend you go spend. Even, you see these on eBay for like 50 bucks, 75 bucks, and some people, an iPhone is still out of the reach for their budget. But, I still would not recommend you buy this, even if you want to just get into the iPhone game. I would say save up and get an iPhone 5 at the bare minimum, and I wouldn't even recommend that one. I would say 5S if you can swing that. But that's pretty much going to wrap this video up. Click the like button for me if you enjoyed it. I will catch you all in the next episode. Be sure to be well, and peace.